So in today's video, we are going to be talking about 10 very easy things that you can do to make sure that you pass your VIPKID mock class / mock lesson. Hello everyone, my name is Melody and thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. If you guys are interested in becoming a VIPKID teacher, my referral link is going to be listed as the first link in the description box. As always, if you run into any questions during this hiring process, feel free to email me. My email address is listed there as well. So before we get into the tips, I am just gonna put this little bonus. We're gonna sprinkle the bonus on top up front. So you wanna make sure from the get-go that your video quality is decent, that your lighting is decent, and that your background, again, decent. Nothing has to be perfect up front, but up front you just want to make sure that you're able to be seen, that your body for the video is able to be seen. You don't want it to just be like a tight shot of your face because you need to teach, you know, your hands need to be in it, but you also don't want to be too far away to where you're like a dot at the back of the room. So you just want to make sure those 3 things are in order, and then from there you can focus on the rest of these 10 tips that I have for you. So let's go ahead and get into the tips. So number 1 on this list is an external reward system.
When kids do a good job, they get a tooth, which I like to use especially for the younger kids because it's easy to explain.
So built into the lesson that you are going to be quote unquote teaching, there's gonna be a reward system, but they are gonna be looking for you to have one physically, to like show to the camera and not just use what's built into the lesson that you were given. So I would just really suggest Googling different VIPKID reward systems if you wanna get some inspiration, but it can be as simple or as complicated as you want. For mine, which you guys just saw, I use teeth, and every time a student gets a star or a reward, they get another tooth on this smiley. It's really up to you, whatever you want it to be, but make sure you have an external reward system. You want to use at least 3 to 4 props during your mock class. They're going to be looking for you to have spent enough time to gather some things that will make this lesson as engaging as possible with the student. So this can be things that you print out. So literally you print out the characters, Meg and Mike. You print out a ball and you show that to your student, or you go purchase or have a physical ball that you can show them. It can be as simple or as complicated as you want, but they're going to be looking for you to have props. Because So last but not least, something that you want to make sure you have before the lesson is a whiteboard. Now this whiteboard is going to be invaluable. It not only can you use it to help the students sound out letters and just draw and give them directions, but you also can use the whiteboard as another prop. So essentially you have these flashcards or these pictures that you printed out that correlate to the lesson, and now with the whiteboard you can use magnets to bam, put them on there, and every time you want to reference it, you have this whiteboard that you can put up and do that. So you want to make sure, again, you have a whiteboard. So for the rest of these tips, these are things that you want to focus on while you are in the middle and doing and performing this mock class. You always want to use TPR, or total physical response. So I'm not gonna lie, prior to VIPKID, I had never in my life heard of TPR, but it's really simple and it makes a lot of sense. Because you are teaching students virtually, you want to be as engaging as possible. And you'll notice while I'm talking to you, I am using my hands. This makes this more engaging for you, especially if you're a little kid and you're distracted easily and this person is just moving a lot over here on the screen, you're just naturally gonna pay more attention to them. So TPR is basically talking with your hands. So for example, I'll show you what it looks like for me to introduce myself with no TPR. Hello, my name is Melody, teacher. What is your name? And here is that same introduction, but with TPR. Hello, my name is Melody, teacher. What is your name? Yeah! So you can easily see the difference between the two. The second, using TPR, is just way more engaging, and that is something that VIPKID believes in, drills down on, and is definitely looking for you to do in your mock class. So use those hands, okay? Use those hands and be as engaging as possible. You want to make sure that when you are doing your mock lesson that you are speaking 50% of the time and the student is speaking 50% of the time. It can be really easy for you to get caught up in trying to explain directions and engage with the student, and you realize, wow, I've done most of the talking here. So you really want to be mindful in making sure that as much as you talk, you are letting the student talk or prompting them to talk. So tip number 6 segues perfectly from tip number 5. You want to avoid using incidental language. So incidental language is essentially fluff, things that you add to what you're saying that if you speak English, it's very easy to understand. But when you're teaching people whose native tongue is not English, all these extra words, it's just gonna sound confusing. So you want to make sure that instead of explaining the activity, you're demonstrating the activity. Instead of explaining what you're going to be doing next, you're just doing what comes next. So I'll give you an example of what incidental language sounds like. Next, we are going to play a very, very fun game. Do you like games? So instead of saying something like that, you could say something like this. Let's play a game. So you see the difference? It's just way simpler, easier to understand, especially for a young student whose native tongue, again, is not English. So tip number 7, you always want to encourage your student to say more than one-word responses. So I'm going to give you guys an example of the introduction for your lesson. Hi, my name is Melody, teacher. What is your name? And let's say that your student, who is really your VIPKID mentor, they say Tim. So they don't say my name is Tim, they just say Tim. So your goal here is to get the student to respond with more than just one word. So you want to do something like this. My name is Tim. And then that will prompt the student to repeat that back to you. And basically they're learning this new sentence structure, my name is Tim. So whenever the person that you are doing your mock lesson with repeats something that's just one word, always get them to say the full sentence structure. They are definitely going to be looking for you to do this. Tip number 8. You always want to make sure that if a word is left out of a new sentence structure that you are teaching, that you encourage the student to say it entirely and in its completion. So that might sound a little complicated. So basically what I'm saying is, if your student says, my name, Tim, you want to correct them and say, my name is Tim. You want to make sure that they are saying the sentence structure perfectly and entirely, not leaving out words here and there. And again, this is something that they are going to be looking for you to correct them on. So speaking of corrections, you always want to correct your student positively. You never want to say, no, wrong. You want to say something more like, maybe, and then whatever it might be, or let's try again. You just always want to make sure that your corrections are positive, because of course it can be very discouraging learning a new language at such a young age. They're going to make a lot of mistakes, so you want to encourage them as you are correcting them. So last but not least, you want to always model the directions that you want your student to do. So if you want them to circle on the screen, you want to model for them what it looks like to circle on the screen. So modeling goes so much further than explaining the directions, because again, English is not their first language. That's a lot of incidental language, words that they don't know. So modeling always works best. So anytime that you can model or demonstrate what you want the student to do, always choose to do that. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you found these tips to be helpful, and I hope that they allow you to pass your mock lesson with flying colors. And I will see you guys in my next video. Happy teaching. Peace.